Welcome back. Our journey with Scheherazade and King Shahryar continues, and tonight, on the 21st night, we dive right back into the incredible, magical story of Hassan Badr al-Din.
So when we left off, we were right in the middle of this crazy supernatural debate. A Jinniya, a powerful spirit, had found the handsome Hassan sleeping at his father's grave and was just convinced he was the most beautiful man alive. But then an Ifrit, an even more powerful and fearsome spirit, showed up from Cairo and said, "Not so fast." He told her about this vizier's daughter who was being forced to marry a hideous hunchback that very night.
What started as a simple argument about who's better looking, well, it turned into a matter of pride for these two powerful spirits. They had to settle it. And really, there was only one way to settle a bet like this. They had to see the two mortals for themselves, side by side.
And this is where things really heat up. The Jinniya flat out accuses the Ifrit of lying. But the Ifrit doubles down, insisting the girl is more beautiful. But then he adds this little detail, that only Hassan is actually worthy of her. And that right there, that sparks a plan that is about to completely upend two human lives.
So the Jinniya comes up with this wild, audacious plan. They're going to just abduct the sleeping Hassan from the graveyard in Basra and whisk him away in the blink of an eye all the way to the wedding party in Cairo. And the Ifrit, who's dying to prove he's right, agrees instantly. And just like that, the Ifrit gently lifts up the slumbering Hassan Badr al-Din. The two spirits just soar into the night sky, flying across the desert under the stars, carrying a man who has absolutely no idea that his entire destiny is about to be rewritten.
And in a flash, Hassan wakes up. But he's not in a quiet cemetery anymore. He's on a stone bench in the middle of a loud, chaotic, bustling city. He's in Cairo, and he is, as you can imagine, completely bewildered. Before Hassan can even begin to figure out what's happening, the Ifrit appears and gives him the game plan. He's basically told to crash the wedding of the century. He gets an enchanted candle and, get this, a pocket that will never, ever run out of gold. He just has to trust the magic and not be afraid. So Hassan, still wearing his fine, gold-embroidered clothes from Basra, just kind of blends into the wedding procession. And with his almost supernatural good looks and the fact that he's just throwing handfuls of gold at the musicians, well, he immediately becomes the center of attention.
Yeah, Hassan goes from being a guest to being the main event. The performers and the wedding guests are so taken with him that they actually refuse to go inside unless this handsome, generous stranger is given a place of honor right next to the groom. And just like that, he's in. Once he's inside the hall, the stage is now perfectly set for a night of pure magic, mistaken identity, and a really clever deception, all orchestrated by these supernatural forces.
And then the bride, Sit al-Hussan, appears. And wow! She is as beautiful as a full moon, wearing this incredible gown embroidered with red gold and a priceless necklace. The Ifrit wasn't kidding. She is the perfect match for Hassan.
So as the hideous hunchbacked groom, the man she's being forced to marry, tries to get close to her, she just instinctively turns away. Her eyes lock with Hassan's, and it's like she's pulled towards him by some invisible force. And the whole crowd sees it and just erupts in laughter.
Now, while this little romantic moment is happening, the real groom, the hunchback, decides to sneak off to the latrine. This was a very, very bad idea, because the Ifrit is waiting for him, ready to take him out of the picture for good.
The Ifrit unleashes this terrifying plan. First, it appears as a little mouse. Then, that mouse morphs into a cat. Then a dog. Then a donkey, each one bigger and scarier than the last. Finally, it becomes this monstrous water buffalo, completely trapping the poor hunchback and scaring him half to death. Roaring with the voice of a man, the Ifrit threatens to kill the hunchback if he even thinks about moving or making a sound before sunrise. So, the official groom, he's trapped, terrified, and totally neutralized. The path to the bridal chamber is now wide open for Hassan. Back in the chamber, Hassan sees his chance and he absolutely takes it. He leans over to the confused but pretty hopeful bride, Sit al-Hussan, and tells her that the hunchback was never her real groom. He says he was just some stable hand they hired as a decoy to ward off the evil eye, because her beauty is just that dangerous. And you know what? She completely believes him. She is overjoyed.
Sit al-Husn embraces Hassan, the man she's now sure is her true husband and her cousin. And that night, they're united, two people brought together by a supernatural bet they know nothing about.
But of course, this magic can't last. As the sun starts to rise, the Jinniya knows she's got to get Hassan back home before anyone discovers what they've done.
But Hassan's journey takes this incredibly cruel and sudden turn. As the Jinniya and the Ifrit are flying him back, a shooting star, which is basically an angel's weapon, strikes the Ifrit and just incinerate him on the spot. The terrified Jinniya panics and drops Hassan at the very first place she can, the gates of Damascus, a city he has never even seen before.
He wakes up alone, confused, wearing just a shirt, and when he tries to explain his impossible journey, I was in Basra, then Cairo, now I'm here, the people just mock him. They're sure he's gone completely mad.
Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away in Cairo, Sit al-Husn wakes up to an empty bed, and her reality is every bit as confusing as Hassan's.
When her father, the vizier, comes in and starts talking about her marriage to the hunchback, she just laughs. She is absolutely positive it was all just a clever joke and that her handsome, real husband has just stepped out for a moment. She has no idea he's just gone.
And that's where our story leaves us for now. Two lovers brought together by magic for one perfect night, and then just ripped apart by a cruel twist of fate. He's now seen as a madman in a strange city, and she is about to be called a liar in her own home. Their memories are real, but their new realities are impossible. This impossible separation sets the stage for the next incredible part of their journey, leaving us all wondering what kind of magic or what miracle could possibly reunite them now.